Well, good evening. Welcome back to my little gardening show. I'm out on the back deck. I've got another vat of tomato sauce going. It's been going for, well, since 6 o'clock, so over 3 hours now. I got probably at least another hour to cook that stuff down because there's over 21 quarts in that pot. Took a while to heat up, and so now just kind of letting it cook down, and it's finally cooled down a little bit. Our air conditioning's been on the blink for the last week and a half or so. Basically, there's a slow leak in the coil, and we're going to be getting it replaced. But the technician that's going to be doing the work, he's been pretty backed up. So at some point, we'll be coming out to do that. So in the meantime, we've just been kind of getting by, limping on the remaining air. There's a little bit of coolant left in the air conditioning, and so I don't know, it's about 80, 85 in the house, somewhere in there. Last night was pretty miserable, really humid and just kind of sticky. Makes it get difficult to sleep when you're used to being in mechanized air, you know. So anyway, doing the cooking and the canning outside as much as we can just to keep the heat down in the house. And it's worked out pretty well so far. Um, but cooler weather, I think it's supposed to cool off here in the next couple days. So thankful for that. Should be a little cooler tonight. Let's see what's going on. Kids have first day of co-op classes tomorrow, so they went to bed a little early tonight. We've got everybody tucked in, um, ready to go for classes tomorrow. So that should be fun. Some new people in the co-op, so they have a chance to make some new friends and stuff like that. Should be pretty interesting. My wife does um, teaches a class that kind of covers 3 credits. It's called IEW. I forget what that all stands for, but um, basically covers history and English and writing. And so she's spent a lot of time preparing for that. They offer certifications where you can get certified, and then you can offer those classes online, become like a certified teacher to do that. So she may do that down the road, but right now it's just for the purposes of co-op. So we got that going on. Let's see what else is happening. The garden is going pretty well. Let's see if I can reverse this around so you can kind of see what we're looking at tomato wise. You can see that I got a decent batch of tomatoes that are ripening up here on the back table. They're about ready. Got probably another, I don't know, 2 bushels to pick, if I had to guess, of San Marzanos. They've just really been prolific this year. We did Romas mostly last year, which the advantage to that is that they're more of a determinate variety, so everything kind of came in at once. We were able to, you know, get our tomato sauce processed, whereas with the San Marzanos and the Italian paste being indeterminate, we've it's been wave after wave of tomatoes the last couple weeks. So my weekends have been, I spent a lot of time cooking stuff down, processing it, making different things with it, whether it be salsa, spaghetti sauce, straight tomato sauce, doing a variety of things with it. After this batch, we'll probably get about 15 to 18 quarts of sauce from this batch, combined with the other batch. I've got another 18 quarts, 16, 18 quarts to cook down, plus the 21 quarts here. Once it's cooked down, I should have a fair amount that we'll be putting up. I'm guessing at least 18 quarts of sauce we'll have by the time we're done. So pretty good. We stopped by our in-laws the other day and just talking to him. My father-in-law just asked me, he's asking how we were doing and what we were up to. So I was kind of telling him about the food preservation efforts and whatnot. He just kind of asked me, is it worth it? And that's a valid question. Certainly it's a time investment. But I look at that and what else would I be doing with that time? I'd probably be wasting it, on leisurely activities, surfing the internet. I don't know. Maybe there's other things I would do with it, but from my perspective, it's worth the time, definitely, to do this. It's a lot of time, but I think it's worth it, particularly this fall and winter when we're able to pull jars out and know exactly what's in it, and just having something a little fresher than store-bought stuff that a lot of times has preservatives or added chemicals or added whatever that they put in it to extend the shelf life or enhance the color or whatever it might be. Plus it's being sourced from who knows where. That's maybe some farm that's not that's using chemicals and various things, pesticides. Who knows? So from that perspective, I think it's worth it to do stuff like this. Then also being able to just share with friends. I was able to bless some friends this weekend where I brought them a couple pints of salsa and a decent batch of big beefy tomatoes. They've got, I think, 6 kids, so I know food's an expense for them, for sure. We homeschool and we know a lot of large families, and one theme is that a lot of them are struggling, to make ends meet and kind of keep clothes on their kids' backs and, pay for the activities and, much less the food, being the food expense, grocery bill, trying to be wise with that. A lot of these families, they don't eat out a lot. They try to eat at home and conserve things and just be resourceful, which is something that we're trying to do more of. We're trying to teach our kids that, for sure, and just give them a more practical perspective on life and get them, the millennial generation and even Generation Z coming after it, somewhat of an entitlement mentality and, growing up with technology and convenience and things of that nature. My daughter was remarking she's 16, working her first job at this assisted living thing, and one of the things she noticed really quick, pretty fast on the job, was how many of her peers are upset, think they're entitled to more pay, when really all they're being paid to do is serve food, and take orders, bring stuff out, and working on a part-time schedule, and they're not happy with $10.85 an hour. They don't think they think they're underpaid. They deserve way more than that. Um, the other thing she's kind of noticed is a lot of them, having to be repeatedly told what to do. They can't seem to follow simple instructions. Um, doing their job, complaining and arguing. Um, just kind of with a bad attitude. So she's learning some valuable lessons and learning that, mom and dad weren't full of it when we were kind of telling her, warning her about these things and trying to encourage her to do the best that she could do and apply herself in the job and just be thankful and whatnot. So it's been interesting. Um, Again, just kind of trying to teach the kids some practical lessons on things. And the other thing too is talking to them about, their future, and trying to figure out what they want to do, maybe what they're good at, what maybe they have an inkling to try, and trying to encourage them to try different things, learn what they can, explore, and try to figure out what they enjoy, and then get out and work, have some, like they had little jobs this summer mowing grass. We helped them, of course, but it's just been good. The little opportunities they've had to get some practical experience and, doing more than just laying around all summer and whatnot. Tried talking to the kids about their education and the importance of, when they get to that point, we want them to have the option to go to college if that's what they want to do, or they have a specific career path they're wanting to pursue and whatnot, but just making sure it's affordable, being smart about it by taking advantage of these college credit plus programs that's kind of funded by the state, and where they can knock off up to a year of school by doing like dual credit option, which oftentimes opens up an opportunity for scholarships, because the college or university that they've been taking classes in, if they do well, see that they've kind of proven themselves that they can do that kind of level of work, so they're more likely to get the aid and things, because it's from the college's standpoint, it's a good investment. It's going to make their school look better. So I don't know, just trying to be wise, trying to capitalize on opportunities so that they're not saddled with student loan debt. Anymore. I mean, you read about the articles about the looming. I mean, it's already a crisis. People that are just thousands of dollars in debt for a degree that really is kind of meaningless, that they can't really find a good paying job with. My wife she'd read an article the other day where it's relaying a story of a gal that had, I don't know, $80,000 in student loan debt and is working 3 jobs to try to keep up with the payments. Hasn't been able to find something that would be a living wage. Even talking with my brother a few years back, he went through a doctorate program. He's doing pretty well. He was telling me about people with doctorates that because things are so competitive out in Boston where he lives, they're working at McDonald's and things like that, and they've got PhD. So I don't know, I'm kind of talking in generalities, but I guess the main point, really, thinking about things in the future is just that college is not all that it's cracked up to be, and it's what's been pushed on kids for generations. The importance, that you've got to do this, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree. Um, if you're going to get a good paying job, and yeah, there's some merit to getting a higher education as far as like learning how to read and write and think critically and be able to express yourself and formulate ideas and things like that. But anymore, most employers, um, they're looking for somebody that has the right attitude and behaviors. And then they can train them for competence and they can coach them for performance, but they're really looking for attitude and behaviors and someone that they can kind of invest in. Um, that would stick around at least 3 to 5 years so they get a return on that investment. And so, one of the things just talking with the kids is encouraging them to look for opportunities like that, like get a stable job history and in network and whatnot. Try to better themselves, be smart about the education they get, so that they're not thousands of dollars in debt, like where they've got basically a mortgage payment hanging over their head once they complete some kind of schooling. But try to get into internship or cooperative education, something where, maybe find an opportunity where a company would be willing to invest in them and help pay for their education and give them the training and then, get some positive work history and then kind of build on that. I know the company I work for is big on that, trying professional development and trying to invest in people and, train them into their way of doing things and then, um, you know, go from there. So, anyway, that's some of the stuff we've talked about um, recently with the kids and some of the things that's been kind of at the forefront, as they're getting older and starting to come into their own and, really um, in the middle school, high school years where, we've got anywhere between 4 to 8 years with them before that, before they're out on their own kind of exploring things. Not that we would kick them out of the house or anything, but I mean, more than likely they're going to be pursuing opportunities and whatnot. And it's just such a critical time, and just try to instill some practical wisdom um, in their hearts and minds, so that they can navigate the choices that are going to be before them, and make good choices and really be able to support themselves and get along in this world that we live in, and not be saddled with tons of debt, debilitating debt that basically it's going to be a source of grief for years to come. Again, a lot of people we, even some family members we know that made some mistakes and now spending decades paying for them. Um, it's a harsh reality that ideally we'd like to spare them from if possible. Kind of rambling along all that line there. See what else is going on. That's about it on the home front as far as parenting and raising kids. Oh, we also got into some moral discussions and just trying to talk to the kids. And my daughter, for example, we had an interesting conversation last night. She asked me what my viewpoint was on if she wanted to, dye her hair blue or get a tattoo or something like that. If that's something she decided to do, what was our thoughts on that? What do we think about that? And really, what I came back with was, if that's what you want to do, um, pray about it, think about it. Is it going to hinder your witness? Is it going to, um, why, what's the reasons why you're wanting to do those things? And if the reasons are valid and it's not going to cause people to stumble, or, your motives are pure about doing all that, I'm all for it. And basically, we try to stress how we're supportive and would be okay with those choices if that's what she was led to do, and she had spent some, a fair amount of time just kind of considering that. Is it going to hinder her witness, or just like create a stumbling block for people, or are people going to discriminate? Is it going to cause people to stumble? And then just talk to her about, from a professional standpoint, as far as going in to get a job and things like that, that, while people are all, there's all this promoting of, diversity and things of that nature, and not judging a book by its cover and all of that. The reality is that people do take note of appearance and details on things, and a lot of times those things are indicators, or can be an indicator of an issue that could, where it could be an issue at work. This whole expression of individuality and stuff like that. And I guess my daughter calls them emo people, that kind of wear their emotions and are overly dramatic, and express themselves by doing various things to their body to get attention or express how they're feeling or make a statement or whatever. Um, that when you're going to interview for a job, or you're going to, whatever it might be, that you can limit your options depending on how you present yourself like that, you know. Um, and again, those things can be an indicator of an issue of, maybe in some cases self-centeredness, or not being able to work cooperatively in a team, um, things like that. Whereas there's the flip side of that is that there's, depending on what the culture of the company is, or whatever the opportunity is that they're, looking at, those things are, um, individuality and all that stuff is more valued or critical, and maybe it's a sign of being creative and being able to think outside the box or whatnot. So I can kind of see it both ways. But again, we just kind of encouraged her to kind of examine her motives for wanting to do things that are, especially like permanent things, or that are semi-permanent, like tattoos and things like that. Not that we're against them, but that she should give thought to them, you know. Because obviously there's things that decisions maybe you make in your youth that years later you regret. You know, you see that even on like the little tattoo shows where they call them, they've got a phrase that they call like tattoos that are a mistake or whatever. And I think there's a show, I think it's still on TV, where they specialize in fixing tattoos or um, changing mistakes or whatever that people made that maybe when they were under the influence or when they were younger and just did something, you know, ignorant, um, that years later they end up regretting. So anyway, again, I'm kind of rambling about all that, but the big thing is just again trying to instill like just some practical wisdom and you know, letting her know, yeah, we're going to support you in your choices, but you need to think it through, give careful consideration to your choices before you do something like that. As far as, you know, going out and getting a bunch of tattoos or whatever, because your views might change, and you might end up regretting that um, down the road. So just kind of think that through and all that good stuff. So let's see, anything else? Not much else that's coming to mind right now. We've got some birthdays coming up. We've got my two younger kids. My son, his birthday was actually August 25th, and I've got a daughter whose birthday is September 26th. And we kind of split the difference, and we're doing a birthday party, the family party, this weekend, and celebrating them together so that, you know, it's easier on the family. Uh, so we got some planning to do there, and that's really cool. There is a praying mantis that landed on my canning, um, kind of the lifter, the insert you put in. You put the jars in there, and then you drop them in through with this insert, and then you can pull it out. There's a praying mantis. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. It's pretty cool. Oh, it just took off. There it goes. Let's check on the sauce while we're cruising around. Alright, so it's cooked down about 4 inches. Yeah, that's about the consistency we want. I think I can shut this thing down. We're going to just let this sit outside and cool for the next half hour or so. Alright, well, I guess that's it for now. I'm going to head back inside, check on some things. So until next time, happy gardening. Bye.